So I went to Hainan Island in China on a 5-day 4 nights package tour, and here's what I ate. First things first, Burger King at 5 AM in Changi Airport because we didn't realize there were other stalls after walking to the departure hall, at least as an appetizer until we reached Hainan. For the first meal, we arrived at this restaurant called Xinghai Fu that's apparently got a few outlets around the island. Don't judge it by my footage, that's what it says on the website. And they are serving up dishes that feel very home-cooked. They definitely adjusted the taste to suit the Singaporean taste buds, and we were also told they cooked the rice in chicken stock even though that is not what they usually do. They also served this giant fried ball made from glutinous rice called a jian dui, where I think there's some kind of tradition to split the ball using this hammer. In case you're wondering, the inside is empty and it's a crispy and slightly sticky outside shell. It's a shame we didn't eat their signature dish, which appears to be a crab dish, but it was all still good. Penguins. That's not food, that's one of the attractions at Hai Hua Tao, or Ocean Flower Island, which is an artificial island specifically made to be a tourist trap. And as a tourist, I spent my confinement at the theme park Ocean's Paradise with my fellow penguin captives, beluga whales, a weirdly gigantic dog, a gym rat, some sea lions and human corporate drones, and a non-polar bear. These birds, however, are free to fly away anytime. Assuming they are real, of course. And if you want to ruin your holiday mood, you can start wondering about how a tropical island like Hainan can host Arctic animals even though human beings are literally dying in such climates. And search the internet for facts like how the real estate developer of the island is heavily in debt and told to blow up their resorts, how there was corruption and permanent large-scale environmental damage, and the last time a zoo decided to have the world's first tropical polar bear, they also decided it should be the last. Inuka, the first polar bear to have algae grown on its fur, actually didn't die a terrible death and lived well past the typical lifespan of a wild polar bear. Not bad for an $8 million home. But those are problems too big for my stomach to handle, so it is food street time. We walked into this Danyang Yingxiang place, and then culture shock hits as we were given a metal bowl, which we were told is for washing our utensils. And then disappointment hits, as we realized that coconut chicken is a dish we have to cook ourselves. So I guess just throw everything in a pot, take some sauce, and I guess it's still alright. The sauce is tangy and goes well with the chicken, and I believe the soup is just coconut water, which surprisingly tastes good with chicken. After dinner, we continued walking the streets to see a light show, but not before I sneaked into this Hong Kong cafe to buy a yam milk tea. The light show itself was, I don't know, kinda lame. I didn't have more pictures or footage, but the yam milk tea seems to have some sourness which I think is plum mixed into it, which I slowly ate the chunks of while walking to the hotel. We are staying at Oubao Hotel, a self-proclaimed 5-star hotel with a nice garden and nice architecture with a giant money-eyed rabbit at the entrance. The hotel does seem nice to explore. Then I saw this Remicone shop which sells this cloud ice cream. But I guess they don't sell this no more at 9 PM, so I bought this brown sugar soft serve instead. This tasted like McDonald's soft serve with brown sugar syrup, and for more than 30 yuan, and it's a reminder of why the rabbit at the entrance looked at us like that. Although Oubao is a 5-star hotel, the breakfast is pretty much the same as other hotels with desserts, 清补凉, fruits, and other cooked stuff. I really don't recommend the western pastries. They don't quite taste or are as flaky as they should be, although the freshly made ones like the pancakes are better. Obviously in China, the Chinese stuff tends to taste better. And soy milk is strongly recommended. And that was today's appetizer for lunch, which we need to travel out Hai Hua Tao and across cities to join this whole group of people from far and wide that legends say is so good that they built a ticketed entrance from which is still a few kilometers away with a 108-meter tall Guanyin statue and a temple around it. Okay, but seriously, we're at Nanshan Buddhism Cultural Zone, and this place is pretty big if you look at the map on the back of the ticket. This whole park is an attraction, with the 108-meter tall Guanyin statue and the temple being the main attraction. It doesn't look very big here, but that's because it's really far. This place where I am taking photos, which is right on top of the restaurant, shows the scale much better, and those small things around the Guanyin's feet are people. And to reach the temple, you have to cross this long bridge where if you look back, it's kinda like a small separate island. And no reason not to take photos while we're walking here. Hey look, it's a plane. So we aren't allowed to take photos inside the temple, but in there are rows and rows and rows of gold statues displayed. Apparently, a second statue of Guanyin in the temple, about 3.8 meters tall, is constructed out of gold, diamonds, jade, and other precious stones. And you might be thinking, isn't that too materialistic for Buddhism, a religion that tells you not to cling to the material world? Or like, how come when you go to the Wikipedia page for the Nanshan temple, you can scroll down further to this reference where it says that the government bureau reaps income from the Guanyin and Nanshan temple and cooks business records to make it seem like it doesn't? But anyway, to protect my social credit score, let's talk about the different type of cooking. Nanshan is apparently quite well known for their vegetarian cuisine, and this was apparently one of the more expensive meals to book. And the food was good. Although it imitates meat, it tastes nothing like it at all. This one is a bit jelly-like, with the meat part tasting like hard tofu. And the mockfish is soft while having a nice umami from soaking up the mushroom and the sauce. It's all tofu, isn't it? But well, I wouldn't travel all the way here for this. The highlight is really the place. Since we're already here, I bought a pink fern to eat on the bus. It's a dessert that's sort of like a fruit punch, and it's got fresh fruits and various types of jelly in it. This one I bought has osmanthus flowers and a mix of soft coconut jelly and chewy coconut balls. It's just what I needed after all that walking. And we reached Binglanggu, a place built specifically for tourists to introduce the Lizu. I don't actually have much to show, we just see snippets of their culture, like what kind of houses they live in, their old people continuing traditions, this big ash tree that was used to make poison arrows, and the silver smithing, because at the end they will try to sell you silverware. And each one of these cups, which is one of the cheapest silver things you can buy from them, is 4,000 yuan. If you manage to escape their salespeople, you will be greeted by less pushy salespeople selling coconut slices, which well, I bought. Then we went to this restaurant with the sign Fruit Banquet. And this is the food we were greeted with. Most of these were cooked together with some kind of fruits, like this one with pineapples, this one with I believe jackfruit, the rice with dragon fruit, and the fish with tomatoes, which is technically a fruit. The fruits provided sweetness to the dishes and added color to the fried rice. Or at least I think it did. The dragon fruit didn't really taste like anything. After dinner, we arrived at Sanya Romance Park. The theme park is actually quite small, but there are various shops selling souvenirs and accessories, and there are scheduled performances in the park. There are of course food here, like this coconut candy that is made fresh on the spot, or this coconut cracker which I couldn't remember the taste of. The main attraction of the park though is the stage performance in the theatre. So I bought some coconut juice which I deeply regretted because the pre-packaged stuff they sold didn't taste very good. I should have just bought their Ting Puliang since that is literally their biggest poster and is made fresh on the spot. Don't make the same mistake I did. Do not buy pre-packaged stuff when you are on a holiday. Then it's time for the show, and you'll see these warning lines on the seats, which my old phone is struggling to capture. That's because the whole audience seat can move. Like how this platform literally appeared for the audience to take upskirt photos of the performance cast. Jokes aside, the show was well choreographed and performed. It looked cool, although the plot doesn't make sense, and I'm pretty sure at this part of the show they were supposed to be mermaids, but... Anyway, show's over and we stayed at Four Seasons Ocean Courtyard Hotel for the next 2 nights. While it is technically a 4-star hotel and a smaller one, it felt more comfortable than Oubao because there's less people and the rooms are more spacious. There's even a balcony, and here's a random beetle that just flew in. Because there is so little people here, I can finally take videos without being a nuisance. These western bread are the ones we do not want to take. These are some liangban, kinda like appetizers which I did not try. Then there are these sausages, vegetables, noodles, bao, which I took a plate of. And whatever your hotel is making fresh, that's the one you wanna take for sure. Like these fresh wontons, which you can pick your toppings. And going simple with just the broth is totally a-okay. They also have everything you need for Qing Puliang, which seems like the Hainan Island version uses coconut milk and more fruits because that's what they have here. It's refreshing and probably something very easy to make at home. Interestingly, they also have this macaroni-shaped jelly noodle thing. Maybe there's some cultural story behind it, but I couldn't easily find that story. Speaking of cultural things, you can find Russian words on signs in the city of Sanya. Probably just a tourism board and China-Russia relationship thing. It looks like a recent thing, so who knows, maybe Sanya will get a little Russian flavor in the coming decades with a little bit more cultural exchange. This was near this beach, which I guess we stopped at for some warm-up, and we can see people doing morning Tai Chi around here. But you know how package tours go, they're full of old people and nobody likes sand, they're coarse and rough and irritating and gets everywhere. And the other thing about package tours, especially to China, is that they bring you to these places where their only purpose is to sell you things. Usually health products like these shark oil pills. They'll have these rooms, you can see those ridiculous prices there, where they give dubious explanations to the health benefits like lowering blood pressures and sugar levels. I don't know if it's a scam, but if you search online for this particular brand, you can find some articles saying that they had made unproven, unscientific marketing claims to mislead customers who were usually tourists on low-priced package tours. That's us, ain't it? There are also online comments from buyers who said that the shark oil didn't do anything. Salespeople at these locations are usually very pushy, and you can sense some kind of panic when the tour group don't purchase anything. But the rest of the day is fun stuff, starting with this random 1-minute helicopter ride that I might as well just post the whole duration of. And that's it. Pretty out of nowhere. Probably because it's right beside lunch, which is this underwater restaurant. Although, my immersion, you can see the mermaids practicing. The food here had more of a restaurant quality to it, and there is this coconut with glutinous rice dessert which looks more appealing than it tastes. The other food was good, but it also feels pointless to describe to you the taste of every dish when I don't have the individual pictures and you can't taste it through the screen anyway. I was too busy taking pictures of fish and sharks and stuff. Come to think of it, are these fishes only for display or are they... A short bus ride later, we were brought to a rose valley. But there's only so many roses I can take pictures of, so I bought some rose-shaped and flavoured ice cream. It wasn't high quality ice cream by any means, but having that rose flavour spread across my tongue while looking at roses just seemed appropriate. We were then brought to these cosmetic shops and I thought, oh no, not another fish oil. But surprisingly, the shop had an online store on Taobao, that is the original Chinese AliExpress, and prices here were actually slightly lower because of some bundles they had here. They also sold these pastries with dried roses, and these were quite good. Another bus trip later, and we reached Luhuitou, which is a park or hill that is also the highest place in Sanya. That's actually how I got the footage at the start. You can see the entire city here. Though we half cheated because we had a shuttle take us half the way there, and that other half we still have to walk. On the way, I saw this red bug and tried to capture footage of a bird. Though it is hard to capture footage of other animals here. Oh no. Oh no! So at the top of the hill, there's this statue. And for some reason, I only realized there's a story behind it when I came back home and played Reverse 1999 and looked up what a Lu Shu is. According to this Baidu article and this Chinese Weird Tales website, a Li ethnic youth chased a deer for 9 days and nights. Then at the edge of the cliff, the deer turned to look back and transformed into a Li ethnic girl. Then they fell in love for some shit. How come when I write stories like that, people call me a furry, but when some Aboriginal tribe do it, they call it a legend? So anyway, that was the real life lore behind this statue. While travelling to the next destination, I noticed that Sanya has dedicated bike lanes. Just, something mildly interesting since there are so many motorbikes there. Seems like it's the most common vehicle, even at our next destination. Yiheng Night Market. So, there are way too many things to eat here. Even given a month, it may not be enough to eat every item here. And you can see I'm just looking left and right, jumping between grilled chicken, fried mushrooms, hot plate tofu and chili chicken feet. And that is just a small part of the whole market. Once we walk further in, there's a whole area selling food. Some stalls are quite relentless in chasing customers, especially if you slow down and just take a glance at their menus. I wasn't recording at the time, but at one point there were two stalls opposite each other simultaneously showing their menus and almost blocking my pathway. And maybe it's friendly rivalry, but it also sounds like they are almost fighting. Anyway, we only had slightly more than 1 hour to look for something to eat, so we just picked two random stalls since they all looked good anyway. This stall sold a variety of barbecued stuff like suckling pig, lychee wood smoked chicken and roast squabs. Now that I'm back home editing on a full but unfulfilled stomach, kinda regretted not ordering more and just stuffing my greasy face. This is the suckling pig and it's the best thing I ate there. As you bite into it, there's a thin crackle of the skin, followed by the layer of pork fat and tender meat. Dip it into the plum sauce, and it just brings out a little more of the salty pork fat out. This other store just opposite had a selection of fresh seafood and other grilled items. And we ordered some fried rice, lightly stir-fried crab, and a whole steamed fish. Just seemed appropriate considering we're close to the sea. The fried rice was nice, but it wasn't anything special. I think compared to what I can find and eat in Singapore, the main difference might be a more liberal use of MSG, because there is that little bit of something here. The seafood is really fresh. Although on their menu, the crab is supposed to have chili, we requested for a non-spicy version. And this one is stir-fried with scallions, ginger, and just a little bit of green Sichuan pepper. The juices of the crab can also be tasted in the onions, so I tried to eat as much of those as well. The fish is fatty and mostly a familiar taste, being lightly seasoned with soy, ginger, and scallions. Focus! There we go. It is really good, though it shouldn't be anything new for people who regularly eat Chinese food. The crab, fried rice and fish is about 200 yuan total, which isn't exactly cheap, but it also doesn't feel expensive. And the sucking pig is 100 yuan. We got coconut for drinks, although Sanya's coconut seemed to be on the sour side, at least compared to what I'm used to, and I didn't enjoy it as much as I would like to. Ting Puliang again, because why not? Fishing for more stuff. There's white fungus and another pasta shape, this time fusilli shaped. Can someone who knows about this culture bit please type a comment? There sadly wasn't much time to explore other stuff here. Here's a random cat I saw being leashed. And it's time to go back to the hotel. Oh yeah, at the hotel there's this mini mart, and there is this packaged Wenchang Chicken that, now that I am looking at my footage, I'm really curious how it tastes like. I think big chance this will taste bad, like military rations bad. Maybe if it wasn't 160 yuan, I would have bought it for fun. So the next day we got up the bus and came back to the hotel again. It's a confusing moment, but this Celestial brand thing is trying to sell us latex pillows, mattresses and tourmaline charms, which sounds like a scam at 12.5 thousand yuan for a set. They don't allow us to take photos here, and for some reason the employees all are wearing shiny shoes and expensive belts from Gucci, LV. Anyway, back to the fun stuff. The tour guide gave us some snacks on the bus. This is some jelly with artificial fruit flavors and is the one I liked the least. This one has almonds sandwiched between seaweed and is pretty crispy. These are just almonds, irritating to peel. This is a huge date wrapped around walnuts and some raisins, which is actually pretty tasty. I wonder if this means it's okay to just eat dried red dates straight from the package. And these are some sesame crusted balls with a sesame ganache center, and I really like this one. It reminds me of dark chocolate. So after second breakfast, we arrived at this place, and this is what the inside looked like. It seemed to be behind some hotel, although that is not important, and I am seeing a pattern with the catered lunch. Though, surprisingly, I am not actually that tired of eating these. It's kinda same but different in taste. After lunch, we arrive in the Boao Forum for Asia? Aren't we tourists? Why are we at a place for political and business conference? There was a shop selling some cake, but I gave up the idea of buying one after considering the logistics of walking and taking a boat to the next destination, the Jade Belt Beach. Which sounds more interesting than it actually is. It's just a beach. Worse, a beach with a bunch of stores trying to sell you stuff to use on the beach. With nothing to do for 20 minutes, it's coconut time. At least the vendors offered to cut the coconut so I can get the meat, which is less enjoyable than I thought. They are pretty hard, and I wonder if it's a cultural thing for Hainan to prefer less sweet and older coconut. In the distance, I saw this rock, and it reminded me of the Toei animation logo. And a bird, which I decided to track for 1 minute. And it's time to go back to the bus. Holy shit, a mosquito! And another one, and another one, and another.
Having committed genocide on the native population, there was nothing left to bother me on the bus ride.
We're close to the end of the holiday, so this is going back to near the airport to the city of Haikou. Still a lot of motorbikes, but the bikes and people now share a lane. A quick stop at the hotel to dump our luggage and look outside the window to feel like a god. So from the perspective of a tourist, it kinda doesn't feel very safe traffic-wise to walk on the roads like this. But it was the walking route recommended by the tour guide, so that's the route we took to this mall. As for the mall itself, think of any mall you know, replace the words with Chinese characters and advertisements with Chinese people, and ta-da! You have cultural homogenization in capitalist societies. For some reason, it was difficult to find something that isn't spicy. Either that or it's too many people. So what the heck, just pick something, and Grandma's cuisine don't sound too bad. And what do you know, the non-spicy signature dishes were all out of stock, which makes this officially the worst day of my life. So we ordered this sweet and sour tenderloin. While the color is probably familiar, this is made using vinegar and sugar, an older recipe compared to the more common Cantonese version with ketchup. These also had what I think were peaches, and the meat was super soft. I actually didn't realize I was eating lean pork. We also had this very delicious fish. That's the name of the dish. But for what it's worth, it was indeed very nice, especially when paired with rice. Slightly herby notes with a garlicky soupy sauce, perhaps with a touch of soy sauce while keeping the fish not too flaky. I do think the fish looks like those very cheap sushi fillets, but now I'm wondering if I can recreate this. Out of spite of having to cook my first dinner in Hainan, I also ordered the coconut stewed chicken, which is definitely better than the one we cooked ourselves. I don't know what is it about their rice, but it is slightly starchy on the outside and was very fragrant and seems to bring out flavors of the dishes better. Based on this sign outside, maybe it's Tongpei rice? Anyway, this whole meal was 121 yuan, which is cheap for the quality. This is probably the real local prices, considering that people eating here seems to be locals. And one of the workers seemed to be confused when we asked to use cash for payment instead of WeChat. And before we know it, it's breakfast again. They've got tea eggs, but it's not anything interesting. Sausages, stir-fried vegetables, fried rice, steamed cakes, bao, and this siu mai, which looked good from afar until you realize the fillings are glutinous rice. Scam! I might put this back. Western pastries, pudding, cakes and fruits. Here's what I took. Freshly cooked wontons, always a good idea. And I also took the cakes to confirm they were meat. Mango pudding was nice though. There's nothing left in the itinerary, so it's airport time. At the airport, there's only two places for food, one being McDonald's and the other being this stall with the sign Hainanese Chicken rice. And we can see the chickens hanging and chilling. We ordered the set meal, one being the braised pork, which is forgettable, and here's the chicken rice, which is not really its name, because in Hainan it's not a dish. The breed of chicken they use is called Wenchang Chicken, and they just usually cook it using the white cut method and pair it with rice. So technically, any Wenchang chicken cooked in Hainan is Hainanese chicken rice. See, the rice here is also just regular white rice, and the chicken I'm eating is cooked using the salt bake method. It's mostly in Southeast Asia that Hainanese chicken rice became known as a dish. So that's the last meal in Hainan, and out of boredom I decided to browse the on-flight menu. My god, cup noodles for $6 and one sachet of coffee or tea for $4. Hello Kitty travel adapter for nearly $100. Who even buys this shit? As a bonus, here's dinner in Singapore at the restaurant Putien. Fried eggplants with meat floss. It kinda tasted exactly as it sounds like, and while delicious, seems a bit of a waste to order something so simple at Putien. This is the ginger duck stew. The sauce really makes you feel like eating rice. The Putien bihun has that complex mix of seafood and pork flavour in it. And although it is mostly a braised dish, you can taste that it is stir-fried. Or 3 dishes and 2 drinks for 80 Sing bucks, compared to a family meal in a food court or hawker centre at half the price with 4 dishes and 1 bihun. Unlike the restaurant version, the food court version has less punchy flavours. It also tastes more like braised noodles. So anyway, you also get lychee pork, stir-fried pea shoots, red glutinous rice wine chicken, and a seafood soup. This isn't to say which one is worse or not worth the price, because the quality of the food at Putien is definitely better, and you do get what you paid for. You can taste the additional steps to bring the level of the food up, which can be compared using the bihun. I'm gonna stop here, and do not subscribe if you want more videos like this, because this channel doesn't have the budget for more and I just felt like making one since I already have the footage.